You ever notice how the same person who gives you butterflies on Monday has you Googling emotional damage symptoms by Friday? Yeah. Welcome to the wild world of toxic relationships, where your brain mistakes chaos for chemistry, and your heart is just along for the trauma ride. Let's unpack the psychology behind why smart, self-aware people, yes, even the ones who listen to psychology podcasts while cleaning, get stuck loving people who emotionally invoice them for existing. One, the hook of the hurt. Why you stay when you know you shouldn't. Here's the weird part. You know it's bad. You can list 10 reasons to leave and 20 fake reasons to stay. They make you miserable, drain your energy, and yet when they text, hey, your dopamine system throws a parade. That's not weakness. That's neuroscience. Your brain isn't addicted to the person, it's addicted to hope. Every time they pull away, your stress hormone spikes. When they come back, dopamine floods in. Pain and pleasure. Same loop, different day. Congratulations. You've accidentally turned your nervous system into a slot machine. If you've ever said, I can fix them, congratulations. You've just diagnosed yourself as the unpaid intern of emotional rehab. 2. The childhood blueprint. Love 101. Taught by chaos. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Toxic relationships don't start in adulthood. They start when you were 3 and someone taught you. That love comes with a side of fear. Psychology calls this attachment theory. If you grew up with steady affection, congrats, you're emotionally bilingual. But if your parents alternated between hugs and emotional cold fronts, you learned that love is unpredictable. So when someone shows up with that same hot and cold energy, your brain doesn't say, this is dangerous. It says, finally, something familiar. That's why healthy relationships feel boring at first. Your nervous system doesn't recognize peace. It craves chaos. If stability feels suspicious, it's not your standards. It's your programming. 3. Intermittent reinforcement, the casino of the heart. Let's talk about intermittent reinforcement, the psychological jackpot keeping toxic love alive. Behaviorist B.F. Skinner discovered this using rats and levers. And no, this isn't an insult. It's science. When a rat gets a treat every time it presses a lever, it presses casually. But when the reward is random, the rat loses its mind, obsessed, desperate, hooked. Sound familiar? Replace rat with you and lever with their attention. They don't love you consistently. They love you strategically. Just enough affection to keep you spinning the emotional slot machine. Every I miss you is the next jackpot you chase. And the longer it goes on, the smaller the reward you'll accept. The saddest part? The person who hurts you becomes your emotional dealer, and you keep buying the illusion of change. 4. Gaslighting. Reality on discount. Gaslighting is like psychological malware. It infects your perception until you can't trust your own memory. You say, hey, you yelled at me. They say, you're too sensitive. You say, you lied. They say, you're imagining things. And suddenly, you're apologizing for reacting to their actions. It's a masterclass in confusion. The more they twist the truth, the more you question your sanity, and the more power they gain. Gaslighting works because it disconnects you from your own reality. And when you can't trust your mind, you start trusting theirs. By the time you're fact-checking your emotions like a CNN correspondent, they've already built a dictatorship inside your head. 5. Projection. The art of blaming you for their problems. In toxic relationships, projection is the national sport. They lie and call you dishonest. They cheat and call you unfaithful. They explode and tell you that you're the one with anger issues. It's like emotional Uno. Whatever card they're holding, they slap it on you first. Why? Because admitting fault would threaten their fragile ego. So they outsource guilt to you. You end up carrying emotional debts that aren't even yours. You're stuck apologizing for things they did, And before you know it, you're the villain in their story. That's how the cycle feeds itself. Guilt becomes the leash, and hope becomes the collar. 6. The fear of loneliness. Why leaving feels like dying. Leaving a toxic relationship should feel like freedom, but at first, it feels like withdrawal. You're not just losing them, you're losing the chemical cocktail they provided. Dopamine, cortisol, oxytocin. It's emotional detox, and your brain hates detox. So it whispers, what if I never find someone else? What if I'm overreacting? What if they change? Spoiler, they won't. The only thing changing is your tolerance for nonsense. Loneliness after leaving isn't proof you made a mistake. It's proof you're healing. You're reteaching your nervous system. That calm is not boring, it's safe. Because here's the paradox. Being alone isn't what hurts. It's breaking up with your own illusion that does. 7. The identity erosion. How you forget who you are. At first, you compromise a little. Then you adjust, soften, bend. Before long, your personality is a faded copy of their preferences. You laugh less. You apologize more. You stop recognizing yourself in the mirror. Toxic relationships don't just break hearts, they commit identity theft. You start believing love must be earned, that your worth depends on their mood, that boundaries are being difficult. But here's the catch. You can't love someone into becoming healthy. You can only love yourself enough to walk away. And if that sounds selfish, good, because self-respect is the most underrated form of rebellion. 8. Breaking the cycle. The emotional detox plan. Step 1. No contact. Not friendly texting. Not checking if they're okay. Not, we're still friends. Block. Delete. Disappear like a Netflix show after one season. Every interaction reopens the wound your brain is trying to heal. Closure isn't something they give you. It's something you create when you stop giving them access. Step 2. Endure the withdrawal. Yes, it sucks. Your brain will replay highlight reels and skip the horror scenes. So, write down the truth. List what they did. Keep receipts for your sanity. Step 3. Rebuild your identity. You're not who they said you were. You're who you were before you started apologizing for existing. Reconnect with hobbies, passions, friends, anything that reminds you you're a person, not a project. When that voice whispers, maybe I overreacted, remind yourself, healing doesn't mean nostalgia. It means remembering who you were before the storm. 9. The philosophical side. Love, freedom, and the myth of suffering. Here's where psychology meets philosophy. We romanticize suffering. Every movie, every song, every ride or die love story teaches us that pain equals passion. But real love isn't chaos. It's clarity. It's the calm after the storm, not the storm itself. Nietzsche once said, "There is always some madness in love, but there is also some reason in madness." He wasn't giving toxic couples a free pass. He was reminding us that consciousness, not chaos, is what makes love meaningful. Maybe the real act of love isn't losing yourself. It's learning to meet your own depth first. 10. Choosing yourself. The final plot twist. Here's the final truth bomb. Toxic relationships don't just end when you leave them. They end when you stop auditioning for love you already deserve. You don't need to earn peace. You don't need to shrink to fit someone's comfort zone. And you definitely don't need to mistake pain for passion ever again. Choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's survival. It's the moment your story stops revolving around them and starts revolving around your healing. Because in the end, the love you were chasing was never about them. It was about the part of you still waiting to be chosen. And the plot twist? You can choose that person right now. If this video made you rethink what love feels like, hit subscribe, not for me, but for that future version of you who refuses to settle for half love ever again. And if you've ever found yourself apologizing for your own boundaries, drop a comment below. What I'm choosing now is because healing starts with a sentence, and this might be yours.